What is up, guys? This is MaxCov4 and welcome to Gates of Hell. Today we'll be giving a beginner guide. So first thing we're going to cover is the main menu. So of course we have home. First option is going to be single player. You have campaign missions that you can go through. You can select campaigns for each actual faction, and tutorials as well if you guys want further tutorials. And then you can continue your game that you're playing as well, which is pretty cool. And back to single player normal. Probably the most played mode is Conquest. Now in Conquest, you can go ahead and create a campaign, and you can play as any of the four factions: Germany, USSR, Finland, and USSA. You can also change who you're fighting against for some of the factions, and then difficulty as well, and how much resources they get. That campaign size can be very small to up to unlimited, so it never even ends. Economy size can be low, medium, high. Just means how much research points you'll have to be able to unlock stuff. And then of course, Fog of War. Now the Conquest map will look something like this. As you can see, you get rewards of ammunition, points to buy stuff, and then research points. There's a higher risk and higher reward for different places that you go. You can choose to where to attack, confirm, and then that'll be where you go for your next battle. In addition, there's a research tree where you can research your next phases. Make sure you always get the free one, call in stage 2. Then you can go through research better tiered infantry until you get to the end, and you can research better tiered tanks. Like as we can see, IC-152 is going to be the best anti-tank weapon I can really get as the Soviets. Excuse me, as Finland. So you can really get further along, get some really good howitzers, and you can really upgrade your troops to have the best that you need. As you can see, each one's going to take up a certain population. This first phase that I have unlocked, let's go ahead and unlock the first phase real quick. So now they have two phases. As you can see, they have a max cap of 60 population. So that on the left-hand side is population, right-hand side is the cost. So we can go ahead and buy a bunch of these guys. Say this is what we want. And then you'll have to move them over to the actual units, or you can just pull them over directly. Then once you run out of space or money, whichever happens first, as you can see, I can't fit that squad. This guy only takes up 2, so he will fit. And we can have an officer. Then you have a whole other phase that you can throw in some more people. Then you make sure to resupply at the end of battles, but I'll get more into that in a later video. Alright, now moving on to multiplayer, you have skirmish where you can fight against AI, and you have online games where you can fight against other players. So now skirmish, we'll go ahead and go for local skirmish against AI opponents. I'll go online if you want to play against other players. So what we have is front lines. How this consists is there's sectors that you have to push forward and to actually capture. And you keep pushing through, either attacking or defending. If you're attacking, you basically have like doubled resources. If you're defending, you have like half the resources. Pretty cool. You can play up to 4 versus 4 on this, or 1 versus 1, however you want it. It's pretty cool. Next is co-op. So these are just a bunch of tutorials, kind of like campaign missions, but you can play it with friends, which is pretty cool. There's a lot of different scenarios. As you can see, you can get giant railroad cannons, or you can be playing all sorts of things. Next we have is Last Stand. So Last Stand, as you can see in the bottom right, you kind of just, it's exactly what it sounds like. There's multiple waves that you have to survive against. You play it with friends, or you can play it, yeah, this one's pretty much all. You want 4 friends to play this one. You play with friends and try to defend a central location, set up defenses, mines and stuff, and try to survive against the enemy waves. You can edit it a little bit once you get into it, but we'll talk about that later. All right, domination. As you can see, domination. So there's like there's a home sector. You and the enemy have a home sector that you have to defend at all costs. And then there's sectors that pop up around the map that you try to compete for. Pretty cool game mode that makes you fight across all of the battlefield. But you got to defend your HQ at all costs. And then there's a typical one, which is battle zones. There's just 3 sectors roughly in the center. You fight over that. You hold them and get. If you hold them, you take down the enemy's victory points, and you eventually win. Alright, so now I've selected battle zones for my game mode. I can change my faction coming in here, click question mark if I want random, or I can go to Soviets or the Americans. For this example, we're going to play as Americans. You can, to switch to a different place, just simply double click over here. Make sure the slot's open, and then you can switch over to the Germans if you want to play as Germans. In addition, you have Axis versus Allies. You can change it to specific nations if you want Soviets versus Germany, or Soviets versus the USA. If you want to do some Cold War era stuff, then you can do stuff like that. So cool things you can do. I like to play Axis versus Allies, but it's just whatever you want to do. Player army can be Allies access, you can change which side you want to start on. Standard, you can play custom where there's no XP gain, you can change game modes. Then test mode, you can pretty much get unlimited resources. So as you go through here, you can also change the late war, mid war, and early war. Now that's pretty cool because you can change what units you'll actually have. Right, so this next one will be your doctrines. As you can see, there is quite a bit of doctrines. You can go random or you can choose one. Some of them require you to actually have the DLC. Scorched Earth DLC is one we'll look at. Now this one is pretty cool. As you can see, the number 1 is your columns that come in at 5 minutes. This one actually has one that goes down here, which is the Puma with a short barrel. Then we have the 2. This one can call on these 3 units for 2, and then there's the 3. So this is 5 minutes, this is 15 minutes, and then this is 25 minutes for any of these bad boys. You have a total of 200, so you got to make sure you do the calculations when you get there. But we'll talk about resources next. Each doctrine also determines the infantry. If they have a 1 beside it, that there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 is pretty much your light infantry that don't really have great equipment. 2 is your basic infantry for that's going to be the majority of the infantry squads. 3 and 4 are going to be your more elite infantry with more health and more stamina. Then you can call in individual soldiers that cost a lot less, very useful for getting machine guns and anti-tank stuff, and also engineers for minesweepers and snipers and stuff. Then you have your support guns, same thing. You have your vehicles that can call in to tow weapons. As you can see, this little thing on the bottom left means that it can tow weapons. This first one with 1 means it can tie low weapons. As you can see, that one's got 1. It can be towed by the Kettengrad. This one has 3. It's the Opel Blitz. It can tow the heaviest weapons, which these ones are only 2. So even with 2, you can carry pretty much every weapon. Now going down to tanks, as you can see, these ones will cost population and manpower. The lighter costing ones will usually be up top, and then the heaviest costing ones will be towards the bottom. But it's not always the case because they'll do lightest or cheapest tanks, or cheapest, and then heaviest expensive tanks. Same thing for the tank destroyers, cheaper, then it'll get heavier and more expensive. Then here's your doctrinal units that we talked about earlier. You can also set the option for defeat at 0. Click the change mission options if you want to change the weather to be daytime or nighttime. Then you can have a different preparation time. You can enable spectators so someone can come over here and actually watch the game. Then to ready up, you just click ready in the bottom right, and then you're ready to go. Alrighty guys, get into it. There'll be preparation time where you can go ahead and pre-purchase stuff if you want. You won't be able to control it until the game starts, but it's cool because you can pre-purchase stuff. As you can see, this is battle zones. There's going to be 3 sectors. You have to be inside this sector to actually to be able to capture it. As you can see, the home sectors actually have, the sectors that are closer to you have ammo boxes, so that's pretty cool. And all the domination ones that you capture will pretty much all have this. So what you do over here is what you generally want to buy first. You're not going to have doctrines until the 5-minute mark, as you can see, and then 15, and then 25. Moving on to the infantry, you want to get some infantry up here. The recons are going to be quicker, but they're going to be have less health. As you can see, they have 150 health. We'll call in Grenadier Squad. These guys are going to have 200. So what you want to do is you can right-click to tell them where to go. But one thing you will notice, if you tell them to right-click somewhere, they're just going to simply stand there. And you don't want them to stand there. You want them to get behind cover. So once they get there, they simply stand there in the open. You don't want them to do that. So what you want to do is ideally click Control, get them down, or you can see how when you hover over cover, it's going to have bodies over there. What you do is right-click, hold the right-click, and you can shuffle them up. You can make them as spaced up as possible if you hold it really close, or you can keep them very close together if you hold it. Hold it and don't drag it very far. Then they'll get to the cover, and they'll all get down and then be spaced out so they don't take as much casualty. It's very important to have your guys spaced out, because if they're just sitting up here like this, easy targets, versus left click, holding right click. Now I'm spacing them out. I can drag it toward generally where I want them to be. Now I've spaced them out. They're going to be some of them behind the sandbags, some of them back here, all around the map. Now for resources, as you can see in the bottom right, we have manpower, which is right here. And you get a slow tick. You get more manpower depending on the population cap. Now DP is tied to your doctrine units, which right here you have a max of 200 unless it's changed. So if I buy this Yag Tiger for 125, I only have 75 left. So you got to take that into account. If I'm buying a whole bunch of stuff up here, I might not be able to get the Karl Gierat or the Yag Tiger. So keep that in mind. In addition, you generally want to be buying infantry because infantry is what wins the games. You want to be spacing them out, watching your flanks, and not doing anything too crazy with them. Don't want to be buying too many of your tanks. Like, you can buy support weapons, but keep in mind, like, the MG42 is going to take a little while to get up here. He's going to be a little while back there. And you don't want to get too focused on one particular group, but make sure you're using that cover. So one thing that your squads do that is pretty cool, as you'll notice, you have a machine gunner in here, and you have assistant machine gunner. So these guys will all share ammo. So they'll share rifle ammo. The only thing they don't really share is grenades. One of them will have a launcher, so that's something interesting to look out. This guy can't figure out what he wants to do. But what you can also do is break these guys off into groups. As you can see on my bottom left, this is where the units are actually all being stored. So now I have this one group that is separated out from my normal squad. Now, if I want to keep this entire squad together, I can simply click Control 1. Control 1. Excuse me. Now, if I want to keep these guys together, I can simply hit Shift 1 or 2. This makes my control groups. Now, I can separate these guys out now. Make this guy. He's in his own group over here, but then I simply hit the number 1, and I've selected them all together. So if you want to get your squad out, going doing something crazy, then you can have them all spaced out, but then you click Control 1, or I mean just 1, and then they're all together. Pretty cool little feature if you guys want to spare out your squads, but then keep them back together. Then you want to right click if you want these guys to sprint. So right clicking will make these guys sprint as fast as possible. Another cool little thing. Another little distinction to note, there's going to be a lot of things, a lot of different weapons that people will have, anti-tank detachments, some way to tell them apart. As you can see, you're looking at all these emblems, it kind of can be confusing. So your regular infantry are just going to have little emblems like this. Nothing too crazy. They don't get highlighted or anything on your maps, as you can see. Nothing too crazy about infantry that tells them apart. But if they have the red line over top of them, as you can see, these guys have red over top of them, and these guys have red over top of them. That means they have an anti-tank launcher. They have an anti-tank launcher. So as in this case, this guy has a Panzerfaust, and this guy has a Panzerschreck. So they're anti-tank weapons. So keep that in mind. Then you see these scouts out here, these guys with the little eyes. See these little eyes? This simply means that they can see further. They see about 25 meters further than my normal infantry, and they have way more stamina, but they have less health, and a lot of times they can't take foxholes, which is kind of a disadvantage. Other stuff that you'll see, as you can see, there's flamethrowers out here. You'll have snipers over here, which actually, you can see this has a little eye beside it, and it has kind of slight coloration of greenish. Now this actually symbolizes that it has a really good stealth, so it has better stealth. The recon can see further, then the stealth can actually hide a lot better. So that means if enemy infantry is looking for me, they're going to have to be very, very close, especially if I'm in the prone and not moving. If you're moving, it makes a bit of a difference. Another cool thing you can do is have these guys, see the firing mode on the top bottom right, hit it to hold fire. Now this guy is just going to hold fire. You can change it to return fire, so he'll return fire if he gets shot at, but only if he gets shot at. And then back to normal. I like to have some of my guys on hold fire if I don't want them to shoot at the enemy, especially these guys. I might throw him in a push control, get him down there, and then hold fire. Just make sure you don't forget about him on this mini-map. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of tools up here. The mini-map, you can change the mini-map with a lot of these things. You can hide the mini-map if you don't want it. You can zoom in, make it smaller, bigger, and there's a lot of other things up here that you guys can do as well. Seeing the message history, you can press H, highlighting silhouettes. If you want that to happen, that's something that you can do as well. I like to have it on so I can see my guys through in the cover. Makes it a lot easier. Highlight items, so this is another thing you can do. So, hypothetically, one of my guys dies. I don't know how he died, but he's out there, he's bleeding out, which, we'll cover that in a second. You press C, you're going to be able to see weapons on the ground. Now I'm going to hold this guy, then C, hold C, right click on this Panzerschreck, and then bam, he's going to be able to pick up that Panzerschreck, and now this guy's going to have a Panzerschreck. He's Panzerschreck equipped, he's got rounds to go, and he's going to be able to engage enemy armor if need be. So that's a pretty cool little feature. As you can see, this guy also recently been shot. What you can do is get a medic up here. All right, now that I've got a medic up here, he's going to be able to treat him. I put him in that, I just leave him in that circle, he's automatically going to treat this guy. Anybody has that red emblem shows that they're still bleeding out, and they can actually be saved by medics. So medics can be useful, especially now that they've added this new feature that there's this circle that stays around them that they can actually heal in. Now my guy is good to go. He only has a pistol because he lost his weapon, but it is a cool little feature. So just keep that in mind that you can use this. As you can see, the medic has a unique acronym as well. And then officers, actually, as you can see, officers here. Officers have this cool thing where they have binoculars and they can see into the fog of war. As if you're using fog of war, as you can see in my mini map, I'm looking at something, I can see into the fog of war. You can actually use this trick a little bit. You can aim at trees, get him to aim at a tree per se, and he could be able to see down. You can also use F6 to have him attack if you can't see over that cover. Obviously, sometimes you have to be in a higher spot, but he's going to be able to see. If I aim him at the top of a building, then I'm going to be able to see inside the entire building. Kind of a little cheat, but it's pretty cool to be able to see through buildings. Same thing if you aim at a tree, you can see all around it and what's in the cover around it pretty much. So make sure you guys are doing that, picking up weapons as well, because weapons can be very effective, especially if this guy were to drop his flamethrower. You can pick up, or you kill an enemy flamethrower. Say there's an enemy flamethrower comes up, you come over here, enemy flamethrower just gets killed, and now, what do you have? You have the flamethrower. You can press V to see the bodies if you want to see the bodies. And then now, look, this guy has a flamethrower. I'm good to go. I can get behind enemy lines, kill tanks possibly, and do all sorts of shenanigans that I normally would have not been able to do. Alrighty guys, just a quick look at the icons again. As you can see, we got a little flamethrower to show this guy's a flamethrower. Got a medic that has a little cross and a pistol. Anti-tank has a red line. Make sure you look out for it, because some vehicles will carry anti-tank weapons in them. And if you have them in a vehicle, they'll still show the red line. There's an officer. There's a sniper with a green recon thing that shows. And then we have the actual recons that can see further than the normal infantry. Alrighty guys, so another cool thing you can do is you can send warnings to your allies. All you can do is hold down in, or you can change this key if you don't want that. You can send out different things that you want to send out. Say, hey, maybe I need to watch out here. Maybe I like to use a ping if I see like an enemy tank. I like to use it when I see enemy heavy tanks to show that there's a heavy tank coming, and I want to alert my allies that there's about to be someone on top of them. So that's another cool little thing you can use just to help out your dudes. You can't spam them very quickly, as you can see, which is good, because otherwise it would turn into spam. But they are very useful, and you should use them to help out your friends. All right, so another cool thing I want to talk about is when you select a unit. Say I selected these guys, is I want to actually use this hotbar at the bottom. As you can see, mine is all set up, but you can go into all these options. All you gotta do is right click, hold the icon, and you can put this anywhere you want to. So hey, say if I want to have my prone button down here, examine inventory button down here, for dismiss squad down here, or for whatever reason, or any of these icons in here, like say hey, I want repair to be down here, so easily repair, then you can just right click, hold right click, and drag it around. You can always replace it as well. So say like I can do that from here as well. So inserting the main menu, and I want to move the wrench over here, I could easily move the wrench over there to F to be my F1 key. Actually, might be my first key. So these are very, very useful, because hey, if I don't want to use this, I can just quickly click down here, throw some grenades real quick, and then we're good to go. As you can see, those hotkeys are definitely going to help. So another cool thing this game has is direct control. So you just got to select a guy, press E, and then you can control your own individual dudes and do all sorts of cool stuff. You can change your views on how you're looking at them, third person, or sometimes overhead, scroll out with the middle mouse button, and then change back with T. If you want to get out of there, all you guys simply do is press E and get back out of there. Now this can be very useful for getting ambushing enemies that you think you could do better. That the AI is obviously not going to know that there's somebody in this trench right here. If you tell them to go up here, they might do something stupid like crawl up here, or they might just go in there without looking and get murdered by the enemy, versus you coming in here because you know the enemy is in there. Same thing for tanks. You get the tanks, go into direct control, hit T, but then right click, you can aim down sights. Hit space, and you can go easily change all sorts of ammos that you have. If you need to change a different type of ammo, press 1, 2, or 3 for different machine guns. And it's very effective, very effective. It's very cool. I would recommend using it. Just don't get tied up in the one unit, because a lot of people get tied up in one unit. Meanwhile, their entire army is being crushed on the other side of the map. So make sure you use it, but use it sparingly, because you don't want to be just sitting there mowing people down with a machine gun. Meanwhile, your entire forces are being decimated. But it is a very fun feature, and make sure you guys are using it. Alrighty guys, so another feature that we're going to talk about from this game is resupply. So let's say you have some heavy howitzers, 155s for the Americans that are firing and leveling an enemy position, but you're starting to run out of shells. So what do you think you should do next? What you're going to need is some resupply. So as you can see, you have resupply call-ins that you can get, and for conquest you can buy resupply trucks. So we already have one over here. We're going to go ahead and tell him, come over here. He's going to drive over here, and as soon as he gets over here, he's going to start resupplying. So resupplying is going to allow him to actually just resupply these guys ammo, and it's going to make it very easy and simple for them to continue to keep shelling the heck out of the enemy. Now, say we don't want to resupply everybody, because everybody that's in this box is going to get resupplied. And we don't want everyone to get resupplied. We want to save this truck for something special. You can click disable over here. As you can see, it's going to have this little icon on your dude that shows disable. And as you can see over here, it's going to show he has like a little button on icon on him as well. So it's going to make it as obvious as possible that he is not respawning. As you can see, they've taken a little bit of his ammo, so that's going to be eaten into his supply, which is not going to be good for him, but you know, it is what it is. He's a resupply truck, that's what his job is. Just turn that back on when you get close to the tanks that you want to resupply, and then they can start eating the shells again, and they can get resupplied from him. Pretty cool little concept. Make sure you guys are doing this. There's other smaller versions you can buy, like the American ammo crates. Every faction has little ammo crates that you can come set them down, and then anybody can pretty much carry them if need be. But you're going to need 2 people to carry this around. This will be good for resupplying an infantry squad that's on the front lines. You just want to bring this over here and help them out, or you can drive a truck over there and try to help them out that way. Pretty cool little feature of this game. Makes it a little bit more realistic, and it makes it a little bit tougher. So I like the challenge, of course. Alright, so the next thing we're going to talk about is inventory. So the first thing you need to do is select a unit. I'm going to use infantry for this example. Press and hold X, then left click. Excuse me. Press X, left click on a vehicle or something, a box or something. As you can see, I can see my inventory on the left, and I can see their inventory on the right. So say I need to get a repair kit to go repair another vehicle, I can easily take a repair kit and be on my merry way. Now, another cool thing, as you can see, this M20 actually carries a bazooka. You can tell by the red emblem on it. So say I go over to this, I'm going to left click on this, double click on the bazooka, double click on the ammo, take as much ammo as possible, and now, as you can see, this guy has got a bazooka. The bazooka's out of their inventory, and he now has a bazooka that he can use at a moment's notice to take out enemy tanks. Pretty cool little feature. Another cool thing that you can do is you can take this bazooka guy, come over here to the sniper. Sniper has this extra stealth, so you can sneak past things a lot easier. You take your bazooka, and you take a bunch of your shells over. Double click on all those shells. Now, you transfer the ammo. This guy not only has a sniper, but he has a bazooka, and he can sneak past enemy lines a lot quicker. It's gonna be a lot easier because he has the stealth option that just bounces off that stone wall. But now you can have a bazooka that you can easily sneak past, hold fire, and have him crawl up past enemy lines. And you can easily sneak this guy past way quicker, easier than you could the normal anti-tank guy. Pretty cool little feature, if you ask me. And you can make sure you use it in your multiplayer games. Alrighty guys, next thing we're going to talk about is cover in foxholes. So a lot of games require you to have cover, and this game is no difference. You need cover, very much so, and there's different forms of cover. As you can see, these barrels are going to get destroyed pretty easy by gunfire, especially machine gun fire, versus these stone walls are going to take something bigger like high explosives to actually take them out. So I'm selecting this squad. I want to make sure that they're in cover, like we discussed earlier. Simply hold right click, and you can adjust it out or in depending on how close you want your infantry. Now, another cool thing that you can do is build foxholes. Say that this is an open point, like, hey, this is the point, is this open field, and I want to hold this open field. So one thing you can do is go prone by pressing Control, but another thing you can do is build foxholes. Simply go to the placement options, dig foxhole, hold Shift, and look. Now I can hold Shift and I can face it how I want it to face. Do this, build a bunch of foxholes. I want to space them out so they're not going to be getting all overwhelmed at once. And then I'm just going to right click off of there. And now all these guys are going to be focusing on their foxholes. Everyone's focusing on their foxhole, which can usually carry like 1 to 2 personnel. And they are going to be doing some intense digging and getting some cover. Now this is going to act as heavy cover. Unless you get a direct hit by high explosive, it's going to be pretty effective at defending you from enemies. Now you're going to make sure that you're digging in as much as possible. Now these guys only carry enough materials to build for 1, but as you can see, this is going to help them quite significantly versus the open field. Now they're actually just half their body is showing, and it's going to be very, very useful. You can have them go down Control, hold fire, and nobody's going to be able to do anything unless they throw a direct grenade in there or a heavy weapon actually hits the hole and digs it in. Now this is very, very effective. As you can see, they're going to be able to be hidden from enemies much better, and them holding this point versus if they're just prone, light vehicle could easily come up here and kill them all, versus now it's going to be a lot quicker, especially since I've spaced them out. So some of your call-ins that you have as individuals, you can call on armor-piercing miners, anti-tank miners, and engineers. These guys are going to be able to build more than just foxholes. Your engineers are going to have quite the array. As you go into here into emplacements, they're going to be able to build small sandbags, big sandbags, barbed wire, tank barriers, and foxholes, of course, mortar trenches, tank trenches, and actual trenches, which is pretty useful, especially on defensive. If you're playing Last Stand or any of those modes, they can be very effective. Now, as you can see, you just simply hold Shift and you can build multiple, what you want to build. Say I want to build a trench behind here, I hold this, make that behind there, then I'll put some barbed wire. I simply rotate this and I can hold that and pull that across as well, if need be. Then right click off that. They're just going to build all of that for me, which is super cool. And as soon as they're done with that, then they'll just be on standby for the next assignment. But make sure you use the hold Shift for queuing commands, especially for mines. As you can see, go into here. Our mines for this are going to be in a different menu, anti-personnel mines, or as you can see, I have it on here. I'm going to hold Shift, and then I'm going to place my mines down individually. I like to do it individually because where I could do it all in one group. There's different methods as well, but I like to hold Shift method best. Now I'm going to place all the mines down. I can see where they're just going to place them, exactly where I want them, which is pretty cool. If you want them to make it in a row, you can also do that as well, but I like to place them down individually myself. And these little green emblems will show you where there is a mine. Now, if you do have an engineer, another cool thing that these guys can do is they have an option, if we go down here, to mine detect, okay? So I also have that as an option in mine, short key. I can tell them I want to detect over here. Now what he's going to do, as you can see, he has this circle around him that he's going to be mine detecting. It's going to be very effective on front lines, because on the front lines game mode, people are going to be laying mines down like crazy, and the AI is going to be as well. You just tell him where you're going to walk. Make sure you hold fire so he doesn't switch out to his rifle, and he's going to be clearing. Once they get clear, they're going to show up, and you're going to be able to see them. You can go up and blow them up if you want to with grenades or with a tank, but you can just walk over them once you've detected them and they're not going to go off, which is pretty cool. But just being aware that they could still go off if explosive from the enemy lands close by. But that's another cool thing you can do with these engineers. Make sure you're utilizing these engineers and utilizing these actual anti-tank miners, because anti-tank miners, you get some mines, anti-tank mines on the roads, like a little intersection that might be used a lot, space them out, and then voila, you're going to be able to kill a lot of enemy vehicles or detract them and make them easy targets for aircraft, which is another call-in that you can get, which is pretty cool. For some quick tips I'm going to show you, one thing that's very imperative that you know is if you click Control, Alt, Shift, and D at the same time, you enter cinematic mode. Now this is awesome for taking pictures. You can still continue in direct control. So it's a must-have if you want to create some cinematic photos or some thumbnails if you guys are making YouTube videos like myself, because this is actually what I use to make my thumbnails, which is pretty cool. Another thing that you can be doing is you can reverse your tank. So now if you tell your tank to reverse over here, it's going to turn around and it's going to turn its side to the enemy. You don't want that. So in order to reverse your tank, you want to click behind it. If you click too far, as you can see, it's going to turn around. So you got to make sure, hold shift. You can just hold shift, and then tell it to right click. It's just going to simply go back all the way back, following those Q commands, hold shift and just break behind it, versus if you hold shift, click way over there, it's just going to turn around the tank. So make sure you're making quick, easy commands, not big commands where it's going to turn around and then you're just going to have a dead tank, and nobody wants a dead tank. Another cool thing that you can do is if you double click L, you can self-destruct. Self-destruction initiated. So you don't always want a big tank like the Pershing to fall into the hands of the enemy, but say we got a little too aggressive with it and now it's behind enemy lines. Now we started self-destruct, this thing's going to blow. So maybe he has a enemy that's going to come up in here, thinks he's going to get a wrench and fix it. No longer. That thing is dead as hell. Hull has been destroyed along with the entire vehicle. So make sure you guys are using that to your advantage to actually be able to take out your own vehicles if need be, or if you sneak up to an enemy vehicle, take it out. It can be very, very useful. This next thing we're going to talk about is buildings. This is the last little tip that we have. If you right click on the building, when you see this little emblem, you're going to enter that building, and it's going to enter facing mainly that side that you right click on. Now these guys are all going to be focused on this side. Obviously if you have a bigger squad, they're going to focus on the other side. But a cool thing that you can do is say, hey, you only have like a few guys in here and there's an enemy tank shooting on this side. You can quickly switch over. Let's get half of these guys out of here so they can better illustrate what it looks like. But say we have a tank coming over to this side and we need to be on the other side. You can right click on the other side and voila, like they're going to run over there and get on the other side. So now they'll be out of harm's way. More than likely if an enemy tank starts shelling this side. So it's another quick little thing. Make sure you guys are quickly moving your guys around if need be, because it can be the difference between life or death if you have them in the right spots or the wrong spots. If they're all aiming over here, and there's an enemy coming down this way, then they could be bad. There's an enemy coming down this way and you only have them on the other side, it could end out very bad for you. Actually one final little tip that we're going to show you to get this guy outside is grenades. You can actually cook your grenades. So for our hotkey is mouse 4. But what you can do, hold left click. As you can see, the timer is ticking. Now we're going to throw that grenade. As you can see, we could get it to explode in mid-air, which is pretty cool. So what I like to do, left click, hold it just a little bit, and now when I hold it, when it lands on the enemy, that's going to go directly off. And this isn't going to get the enemy any time to run away, because usually if a grenade lands by my guy and he's down in the prone, the AI is going to try to automatically get out of the way and run out of the way. Now if you cook a grenade like that, then the enemy doesn't have any time to get out of the way, and they are going to be toast. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like. It really helps me out. And subscribe if you want to see more. Also, comment below what other guides you guys would like to see, because I would love to give you guys more guides. And I'll catch you on the next one.